Good day, everyone. Welcome to this section of the Access to Justice Exchange. And this section is about affordable law firm, the solution for the sandwich class in the community. I'm Aaron Chen from Hong Kong. I'm the Pro Bono Associate Agent of D.A. Piper. So glad to see a lot of familiar faces and names once again in these sessions. So in this session, we would like to talk about the concept of affordable law firm. And also we have representatives from two affordable law firms joining us. They have their own firms in different countries, and we are so honored to have them joining us today to share their experience and challenges in setting up and operating their law firms in their jurisdictions. And we hope that through this session, through our sharing and discussion, we can assist those who have the same ambition to do one and smoothen their ways to success. So in this session, in the coming 2 hours, we will talk about the concept. We also talk about how to set up and how to grow an affordable law firm, and also what is the position of the affordable law firm to play in the community. So I will be the moderator today. I'm Aaron Chen from D.A. Piper. My main duty is to assist the firm manage our pro bono practice across Asia. And we have two panelists joining us today. The first one is Ms. Annette May. I'm sure that a lot of you know Annette before. She is now based in Sydney and acting as the acting CEO of Guatemala Legal. She is also a senior consultant for our responsible business practice. And the next panelist we have is Pavina. She is from Laos, and she is the founder of the Legal House Limited, a social enterprise law firm in Laos, providing affordable legal services to their clients. So I'm in the interest of time, I cannot spend a lot of time in telling you guys their great story. So I guess it's better to hear from them directly about the amazing achievement that they have made with their law firms. So I would like to, but before I do that, I would like to know how much do you know about affordable law firm? So I have prepared a Slido event. So you can either scan the QR code in the screen or go to slido.com, enter the event ID 1981-294, and to share your views about affordable law firm. So I think in that Slido event, what you will see is a question of what are the elements of an affordable law firm. So please go to slido.com, and we look forward to seeing your response. For everyone just joined this session, just want to let you know that at this moment, I would like to know what do you know about the affordable law firm? So please go to slido.com, enter the event ID on the screen, and tell us what are the elements of an affordable law firm. And just also one more piece of housekeeping issue. Today, we also arranged live interpretation in Laos and also Burmese. So in case you are more familiar with those languages, you can choose the relevant channels and enjoy our section. We will also try to explain everything verbally so that interpreter can also tell you what is happening in the section. And same for the Slido event as well. In case you would like to type in, use your own language, please feel free to do that. Okay. So let me share my screen and let you have a look of the answer that we have uh, for for this question. Can you see my Slido screen? That's great. So just want to let you know that like a lot of people have like when I ask like what are the elements of an affordable law firm, many of you have put pro bono lawyer as the key elements. I will leave it for Anna to path to address that issue. Talk about like whether pro bono lawyer is the key elements of affordable law firm. Other key elements that you guys have suggested like low cost, free service, no financial burden, and pro bono. And okay, so I also have prepared another question. That is like, what are your concerns about the concept of an affordable law firm? So I give you another 2 minutes to type in your response to this question. What are your concerns about the concept of an affordable law firm? You can stay on that Slido event, or if you have left the event already, you can screen the QR code on the screen or go to slido.com and enter the event ID 1981294 to join this activity. We would like to know what are your concerns about the concept of an affordable law firm? It seems that our participants may not have a lot of concern. Perhaps I 1 more minute to that. So yeah, we have some answers coming in. Sustainability, no client, driving down market price. No income for um, S. I guess S may stand for solicitor, maybe. So I see two participants are typing, so we wait for them. Hmm. Well, I have to admit that a lot of the answers that you have put in this Slido event are actually the concerns that I may have, or the questions that I may have before understanding the concept thoroughly. So perhaps I can trouble and then to path to address it later. There's one answer in perhaps Laos language. So before I move on, I mean, I just ask the interpreter to read that out for us first. What is it? Afraid of having no budget. Thank you so much. So just to summarize the concerns that you guys have put in, afraid of no income for, I guess, a solicitor, not followed by clients, sustainability, not having enough budget, no client, or too many clients, or driving down the market price. So I guess these are the issues that Pav and Ed will address later. But before I pass it to them, I just want to um, kind of setting the scene and let you know more about what affordable law firm is about. So the concept is actually is to provide affordable legal service to the sandwich class, which is often being referred as the missing middle. So the goal of having an affordable law firm is to increase access to law-related services for people of moderate means who do not qualify for pro bono assistance or publicly funded legal aid programs. But at the same time, they may not be able to afford the fee private counsel typically charge under the traditional law firm model. So the problem of this group of people is they are not eligible for the free legal aid, and they are not able to to hire a lawyer to represent themselves. So a lot of the time they either need to self-represent themselves, or they may have to compromise to choose someone they do not have sufficient confidence, or just someone that they someone they may have some doubt, but because of the price concern that they need to go to. But in order to run this kind of law firm and making the service more affordable to the client, so affordable law firm usually have different kinds of fee arrangement to accommodate the needs of the client. So, for example, they may charge the fee that the low and middle income group can afford, or they have fixed fee arrangements so the client can do the estimation beforehand, or they can break the retainer into smaller pieces, so the client can plan and also think about when and how much they can put in that case, and also think about it in different stages. And sometimes some law firms will rely on technology to reduce the cost of the legal service. So, and once they reduce the cost, so they can make the service more affordable to the client as well. And affordable law firm is kind of new, but not 100% new. We have some examples in different countries already. For example, in the US, so we have the DC Affordable Law Firm, so which is set up to serve the low-income residents in Washington, DC, the capital city of the United States of America. So, and they focus on issue of family law, landlord-tenant law, immigration law, and estate planning. So these may be the issue that the sandwich class, the missing middle, often face. So that's why they have a law firm that specializes in this area to provide the services to them. So now we turn to our examples in the Asia Pacific region. And to begin with, I would like to invite Annette to join us and tell us more about the story of the Watermelon Legal. Hi, Annette.
Hi, Aaron. Hello.
Yeah. So may I just pass it to you and let you talk about your experience, the challenges, and also the future plans of the Watermelon Legal.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much for the introduction, Aaron. And greetings to everyone from Sydney, where I'm sitting at home. And a very special hello to all my friends in Laos who have done so much to build yet another amazing conference and a pro bono exchange. We're indebted to you. And I often think back to the early days back in 2012 when none of us really knew where we were going with this. And thanks to you, the Trailblazers, this is still thriving, this whole combination. I'm going to talk about Watermelon Legal, which is an example of an affordable law firm. And Erin, in relation to the Slido questions, I think I will be making some comments about those, but I thought, especially with the second question, I'd rather leave it perhaps to our discussion because there's an awful lot and I'd like to hear more from the participants who are listening in or watching this today. Make sure that everyone gets a proper chance to express their views. So, yes, I am a board member of this thing called Watermelon Legal, and it's interim CEO. I'm on secondment to there from DLA Piper, where I'm a senior consultant in our responsible business team. Watermelon Legal is a low-fee, not-for-profit family law firm in Sydney, Australia. It was set up to assist people in a group described as sandwich class, or as Erin has explained, the missing middle. In fact, I like to say they're not actually missing. It's lawyers, legal services, all of us who are missing from the lives of people in this group of low to middle income earners. People in this income range generally earn too much to receive government-funded legal aid or pro bono. And government legal aid is usually limited here in Australia to people who are pretty much living on the poverty line. But nor can people in this low-income bracket readily afford legal fees. Equal justice simply does not apply to them. So Walla Legal was established just last year by DLA Piper with the law school at Macquarie University here in Sydney. So how did this begin? Why did we get started, and how did we make this happen? It's been so well noted and documented here in Australia, and I just want to emphasise, I am speaking from the Australian perspective, from the Sydney perspective. You probably have other ideas and experiences in your jurisdictions. Please note them and share them later on in our discussion. But here we've had government reports, we've had law societies, the Law Council of Australia, all reporting these lower income earners are unable to get legal representation. They struggle to get advice specific to their situation. Those of us who've worked in pro bono for so many years, you don't have to work in pro bono for very long at all, actually, not to know that a majority of the population cannot easily access legal advice and representation. So under the leadership of Nicholas Patrick, who is the pro bono partner at DLA Piper, we discussed for some time what could be done to close this gap. We were inspired by our colleague Sheldon Krantz in Washington, DC, and Erin has already introduced that model. It really has been a prototype of what an affordable law firm might look like. And it's nice for me to think that they started in 2015 with, I think, 6 lawyers, still going strong, thriving, and I think they have about 14 lawyers now, which is, I think, incredibly encouraging. So in Australia, to find out how we should, where do you start with so many people in this group who can't get legal assistance, Nick Patrick commissioned a report into major areas of unmet legal need for this missing middle. From this, it was decided to we would build a not-for-profit law firm with low, affordable fees. Also in this report, it emerged that family law was not only an area of immense need in our community, but also the one with the greatest risk of vulnerable parties without legal advice entering a cycle of decline into long-term poverty, including homelessness. And this is particularly the case, of course, for those economically vulnerable. And typically here it would be women and disproportionately impacting children as well. So at the start of last year, we set up a small steering committee, which included Cameron Thompson, an operations expert at our firm, who's had great experience in building new organisations, entities, and the other member of the steering committee was me. There were just 2 of us in the beginning. And then with what we had great support from DLA Piper. They funded our salaries, and they've continued to fund the salaries of the people in this firm and other expenses during the pilot phase, which will go until, at this point, we're saying mid-2024, or it will be until the law firm can carry all these costs, if that comes sooner, and we are hoping that will be the case, of course. Macquarie University provides us with offices on campus, office equipment, access to other university resources, and best of all, in my opinion, is that we have opportunities to work with their academic staff in a wide range of areas, future research, and also we get to work with the students. 2 of these students, of these law school students, have become our paralegals and have done an excellent job. And another small group attend our legal clinic every Thursday. So my very first tip to anyone who's thinking about, I've got a few tips to share that I think are the things that really made a difference when we were planning the setup. My first tip is to find someone with business or administration experience for your steering committee. when Cameron joined us, he then became the inaugural CEO. And his deep experience of setting up systems, doing the IT, setting up HR, budget, bank accounts, all of that stuff has been, I think it really has been the game changer. Absolutely invaluable to creating the structure of this organisation. So our mission is simply about access to justice. We're here to increase access to legal advice and representation, specifically in family law. And we're doing this by using a tech-driven model with fixed fees and unbundled services. It's something of a hybrid model because we use whatever means that clients need to contact us, but in our back office, we try to be as tech-oriented as possible. What is particularly differentiating about us as a law firm is that we will advise on property matters, which, as well as the fairly typical divorce and parenting matters. And I make this point because here, free assistance has seldom been available in property laws, in property matters. And in fact, it's this omission that has led to a lot of the situations of poverty that come out of getting no advice about this, because you have people who've had to walk away from relationships when they've ended, unable or afraid to assert their rights to property such as the family home. Our vision is to demonstrate that a low-fee model can be self-sustaining and that it can be replicated in other areas of law and in other locations, maybe by us, maybe by others. We're really keen to share what we've learned. And I have to say, and this is a pretty terrible thing to say to an audience full of people who love pro bono leaders, practitioners from all over, that while we are testing the financial viability of our low-fee model during this pilot stage, we will not be offering any pro bono assistance. It will be a happy day when we've reached a point when we can do that, but that is not part of this model now. So our business model, our steering committee grew, and we were joined by Jerry Bean, a corporate partner at DLA Piper, and an associate professor, Dan Gieselbash, from the Law School of Macquarie. And later we were joined by our principal solicitor. This group became the board of Walla Legal when we set it up as a company limited by guarantee with charitable status. One of the other tips that I found is that you really don't get very far in launching any kind of new project if you don't have a name. We realised that we actually could not get going any further than talking about our ideas and mission without this name. We couldn't do company registration, we couldn't open a bank account, launch a website, recruit people to what. So if you've got a great idea, if you're thinking of setting something up, please immediately, it sounds a bit frivolous, but it's not, it's really critical to being able to progress this idea into something more whole. The law firm, in our case, this is how we chose the name. Our law firm was located on the Wallamatigal campus, that's an Aboriginal word in Australia, campus of the university. And in acknowledgement of the First Nations custodians of this land, and with the approval of their elders, we named it Wallamata Legal. And then to set up this model of a law firm, we then had to deal with such a huge list. So I say, if you're thinking of doing it, start writing your list right now and plan lists, and also really purposeful meetings that have clear purpose, agenda, and outcomes. Among the many things you will have to think about doing, you'll need to establish the legal firm as an entity within your local law society or bar association. You need to learn more about what your clients actually want. We know what our clients needed, in our view. They needed legal advice, but what did they want within that? And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. You need to prepare all sorts of strategic financial plans, assessment tools. You need to build your pipeline of referrals. You've got to reach out to people who might be able to send you clients who fit in your eligibility of people who are in this missing middle. We had to create a website, acquire the legal tech tools to streamline our legal services, which are the key means of keeping our costs down. And then opening business account, bank accounts, trust accounts, draft MOUs, memoranda of understanding with heaps and heaps of people, it seems, and drafting your policy documents. And then we came to recruiting our principal solicitor. And this is yet another tip. And this is so embarrassing, and this is completely my fault. When we went to recruit the staff, we had our website prepared, but it wasn't live. We had wanted to get our principal solicitors' input on the website before it went live. But of course, who's going to apply for a job that doesn't, a law firm that doesn't even have a website? So we then put up just one page of introductory information to show we actually existed. We started with one family lawyer, Vivian Galanis, our principal, and saw our first client in November of 2021. Since then, we've been able to recruit 2 more lawyers, family lawyers, and we're about to recruit a 4th. In addition, Ashurst generously provided us with a paralegal for 6 months, and another has been provided by the Indigenous unit at the university. We've also developed a lot of partnerships across the legal ecosystem, people who are keen to see this succeed. Our foundation partners, DLA Piper and Macquarie Uni, we've mentioned quite a bit. That as well from our pro bono tribe, Sarah Morton Ramwell at Ashurst, Dan Creasy at KWM, Joe Renkin at Landers, Gilly Field at Gilchrist Connell, Book Messenger Herbert Smith Freehills, all generously have given us different parts of our experience, their knowledge, their intellectual capacity around this, and also some have given us equipment and financial help. In the business sector, LexisNexis, Law Image have also been terrific, and as well as people in government, community, legal aid, and the private legal ecosystem. So the tip about this is obviously you need friends. You actually need friends and connections to launch something like this. You can start with your own networks, both professional and social. And in fact, many of our early referrals came from people who we'd worked with or who we knew socially, who knew a case that would fit within our eligibility. So I was also been asked to talk about what I think our achievements have been to date. Obviously, we've now seen many clients. We've seen over 50, about 55 clients. When I say that, they're the ones we've actually assisted matters for, and many, many more than that have made inquiries, talked to us. Some went elsewhere, some weren't ready to start, but that's been positive and is growing every month. But my very favourite achievement is that we are open and operating. This is just absolutely fantastic. We also know that we're on the right track when we hear from clients who affirm that there was no other source of legal representation available to them, when we've already received requests from 2 other cities about the possibility of setting up a model like this in their cities, when other non-profit legal services has asked us to help train their lawyers to build family skills, especially in property matters where there's not a lot of expertise outside the private law firms. And when academics and law students are very keen to get involved, one thing we want to do is to do more advocacy and law reform in some of the issues for family law clients. And also we want to influence law students to become more interested in family law, consider studying it and perhaps practicing in it. And we give them a practical opportunity to do that in our law firm. Challenges was the next thing that I've been asked to talk about. And the challenges, first of all, you feel like you're on a roller coaster when you set up something that's a bit radical and crazy like this idea. And this roller coaster never stops. You're hanging on tight. You have the best of days, fantastic times, and then other days are just horrible when nothing seems to be working out. I think the next thing that is really a more painful challenge is when we are at capacity. We have absolutely nowhere else to refer our clients. And in fact, we've always been quite hesitant. We don't advertise yet. It's very much word of mouth because we don't feel quite ready yet to face any major opening of the floodgates. We're getting closer to feeling confident about doing this, but while we're setting up and establishing, we wanted to be careful of building our culture and our law firm. The other big challenge, and this is really about what the clients need, what they want, rather than what we thought. We thought we were opening a law firm to help clients with to come in, they want advice, they then want to start a matter, they want to initiate proceedings right at the beginning, and some might have been going to agree, do this sort of thing. In fact, most of our clients have already been in litigation when they come to us. And it's so clear that this is the major gap. They're either trying to do the litigation themselves, or the other issue is that they have run out of money. They've tried paying, they've borrowed money, they've done what they could, they no longer could do that. So that's sort of a good thing that we can help in an area where they genuinely want help, and it's vital work, but it is so time consuming for such a small firm. And it limits the number of clients who we can assist at an early stage before any litigation, and help people try and avoid ever getting into litigation. So this is an issue that we're working on. How do we resolve this? And the fact is, we are building a good reputation for doing litigation when most other low fee or pro bono firms may not do this. So having that reputation is a positive, but we've got to balance it out so we can reach more clients. And the other thing I want to say, my final tip is, don't be too deterred when people question you and really can be quite critical of what you are doing. And you also have your own doubts. I always think, let other people be critical. You don't have to query yourself too much. There are lots of other people who are happy to question what you're doing and why, but that is part of the process of change. And I think a bit later on, we're going to address that when we look at some of those Slido questions about what's good, bad, and otherwise about what we're doing. And then finally, what are our future plans? I have talked about replication and becoming self-sufficient, but in a nutshell, what we want to continue to do is simply to advocate, collaborate, and replicate this model. That's all for me for the moment. Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you, Erin, and wow, Pavina.
Thank you so much, Anna. And I have to say that just within a short period of time that you have already received 50 plus clients already and doing a lot of planning and setting up work, that's so amazing. I'm sure that not only for myself, but the audience may have questions for you. I guess I would turn to the question and answer section after hearing path sharing. But at the same time, in case any participant have any questions for Annette, you can put it in chat box. Feel free to type it in your own language. We have interpreter help us to understand your question, even though it may not be in English. And also, I want to remind everyone that we do have a live interpretation in Laos language and also in Burmese. So in case that is a more convenient option to you, feel free to use it. Thank you so much, Annette. Now we turn to Path. So Path is also having a similar law firm in Laos. So the Legal House Limited is set up, I think just very recently, and it operates as a social enterprise law firm. So I think it's time to hear from Path about her experience, the challenges, and the story of the legal house. So Path, may I turn it to you?
Thank you very much, Aaron, and thank you, everyone, for joining the sessions. My name is Pavina. I'm the founder of the Legal House, or the Ban Kodmai, established recently last month here in Vientiane capital, Laos. I would say I'm so grateful for so many years working in the developing field. However, now I'm working in another field, is in the business field of establish my own social enterprise law firm called the Legal House. I would say the objectives of setting up this affordable law firm here in Untitled Capital is that the background is that because I've been working in many places throughout the countries and see as Aaron and also Enid has been mentioned before, even there's their own context, whether in Hong Kong or in another place, but also in Laos, there also this missing gap where the middle class clients is still yet have not fit in any law firm, whether they're not able to get legal service from the legal aid provided by the government. They cannot get pro bono service from the different law firm because, again, talk about pro bono. Pro bono is support the poor and vulnerable. If they are able to pay, they pay the service and pay the lawyers to get the services. Still, talking about law firm, people say, "Oh my God, law firm is expensive," you know. So that's why the ideas of setting up this affordable law firm is what I always wanted to have. But again, I have different fear. I think not just me, I think a lot of you who joined the session today also have similar challenges. Like, should I like step ahead and setting up my own law firm? And well, I've survived like many of the sharing this earlier with Aaron. So get into the business again. I will say I have made after I graduate and been working for so many years, I can say nearly every month I have many, not less than 10 people or 10 network who communicate to me and ask me to help assist. And actually, you know what? Many of them can afford to pay affordable law firm to get those service because they're not poor, they're not vulnerable, and to what I can see, they would not able to go to the international law firm or big law firm. So that is what the basic principle where I say, okay, let me pitch or let me jump into this market. And I would say, for my own law firm, I've at the start, the first 2-3 years, I would say I will go slow. I will go slow because some of you may know I've recently had a stroke, and I would say one of the people with disability. So I need to also get my health calm and able to work easily and happy. So the legal house will focus working with clients who are with I would say what we call happy matters, like setting up views or giving consultations in basic or not complicated issues or case that go to court, because I think I'm not yet ready going to court representing clients. However, if there's clients coming in would like to get representations, I can of course refer to my lawyers in the network that who also have similar affordable law firm, even though it's not a social enterprise. But I'm happy to do that because I'm sure that if I refer the case to them going in the future, of course, if they don't pick up the case, they can also refer those cases to me as well. I would say also talking about the legal house and the social enterprise that when Aaron just introduced me, I would say, how could I do that? And will I get income? Will my business survive in Laos? I would say, I'm sure it will survive because my focus area, like I said, views, families, but happy issue. I would say in Laos, we have this law where foreigners who has sponsors who are husbands and wife, or they cannot have ownership in land, houses. So I'll say this is a very, very a lot of people, I would say they're vulnerable in some way. They can pay the servers to get their self cover. However, I'm sure some of them realize, some of them don't. So I will say a lot of people come to me and I'll say, oh my God, you really need a will, because if something happens to your wife or your husband, you will get kicked out of the house or the land. And you know what? Anything can happen. So if it's stated that you cannot have ownership in the land title or the house, you have no secure in your life. Even you have your right now, their family is happy and well remain relationship with the cousins and stuff, relatives. However, they still need to get their self covered. And with that says, how my law firm hold a social enterprise law firm? I would say also after set up the legal house, I also established what we call pro bono hub. This pro bono hub is a network that anyone, especially in the legal field, lawyers who would like to work support pro bono, support poor and vulnerable peoples, and somehow I will say a lot of lawyers still they do pro bonos, but they don't call pro bono, and sometimes they don't. They just the pro bonos work that they do, they only give free consultations. However, there are others pro bonos, the work that they can support as a lawyers or practitioners as well. It's because my previous background is clinical legal educations, volunteers at the Faculty of Law and Political Science, and also work as a country managers of Babsiko Laos, showed me that there's a missing gap there where a lot of lawyers would like to, when you graduate, you're like, oh my God, I'm graduate. I become a lawyer. I work in the government field. However, you still have that good heart, would like to support your juniors back in the Faculty of Laws or even different law institute that assist, but they have the concern that how could I connect up? So I will say, in terms of the pro bono hub, is a space like a cafe, where people can come hang out if they like pass by, or more like a chit chat or ideas. Like, okay, I have this time period, I have holiday, but I want to do good work, good volunteer works, supporting the legal sectors, to achieve access to justice. So this can be made. So I always have asked my friends and my senior juniors that, hey, come on, Pa, can't we have a big gather of a CVV program alumni? I was like, I would like to, but you know what? I will try, but I have so much on with my responsibility. But I would say very soon and I'm sure that by having this pro bono hub will be a tool for me to connect up the alumni and even and also other people who not just the CVA alumni at the Faculty of Law and Political Science where I graduate, but also the other lawyers who has the same professions with me in Laos, and also both my network throughout the globe that I would like to do good work, sometimes I'm sure that you work hard, whether you're in a law firm, government officials, however, you still want to like to do good work. Some they do good work in their own country, but sometimes, like me, I like to travel. So they're like, oh, why not come to Laos, support the pro bonos in Laos by training the student, like to train the students in the different directions, um, whether legal ethics, business and human rights, mock trials, all these different topics is still like, needed, especially in Laos. And again, when you would questions like, but it costs a lot to travel. Can you afford it? You set up affordable law firm. You earn not you won't earn that much, and also you're doing this pro bono hub. Who's gonna cover those expenses? I would say there are many ways. I would say later on, Aaron and I can add into that you can if you think you would like to do, I'm sure there is a way. When there's a will, there is a way, and also through these COVID situations, sometimes you're not able, like in the past few years, that many of lawyers who help do pro bonos uh, through bicycles, they didn't travel to Laos. They support pro bono work in Laos virtually. Like we have a sessions here right now doing access to just doing this access to justice exchange and also the pro bono conference recently. I would say it is no more excuse in doing so. Whether no more excuse to doing pro bono, no more excuse setting up a law affordable law firm if you have that ambitious, these passions uh, to take over the missing market. I would say even throughout the country of Laos, where I'm here based in Vientiane, I would say there's so many people can afford this legal service. To the people who are not able to afford, if they come to us and we see that they're eligible in that 7 category, for sure I can easily refer them to the legal aid services. And I will say it's same to whether each country that you're from, whether you're from Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, and all these other countries throughout the globe where government also provide legal aid. However, if you're able to afford lawyers, why not? I'm sure that they would like to use the money that they have um, to be spent and get a service from affordable law firm. It doesn't mean that legal aid is not good. However, sometimes they feel more comfortable in doing so to get their own self cover and having the lawyers, I will say. And if you have questions related to my law firm, please feel free to drop into the chat. And with that said, I also would like to ask the secretariat to provide the participants in the chat box the link for the Google Form links for those who's in the legal sector, whether you're a lawyer, you're a law student, you're a law teachers. You know what? Pro bono and do good is not just lawyers that are able to do, because there are so many different type of pro bono that you can do. So feel free to register as a member of the pro bono hub of the legal aid. This is no cost, but I'm sure you will enjoy yourself doing good work, supporting pro bonos in work in Laos, and also enjoy networking with myself and my fellow lawyers, legal sectors, whether in Laos and also outside of the country. Thank you. Back to you, Aaron.
Thank you so much, Pav. And I can see there's a lot on your plate, so we definitely need a healthy and strong path to continue the good work that you have started doing. I wish you like recover soon and be able to continue your good work that the good work that you have been doing for your community. And I guess that you have raised a lot of discussion points that we can talk about in the next discussion section. I guess one of the things I would like to start with is definitely affordable law firm is one of the vehicles that we can use in increase access to justice and also providing more services to the community who may overlook the importance of getting legal assistance at the earlier stage because of the price or other issues. So perhaps while we are waiting for more questions from the audience, perhaps I would like to ask the first question to Annette and Parvis. Do you that question may be quite obvious, but do you see there's a large group of people that is kind of being overlooked by the legal market at this point in your countries? And what are the people, who are they, why they are in the sandwich class, why they are not being able to get assistance or get the legal service at all? So and as part of, just can you give us a little bit of idea about what is the situation in Sydney or in Laos?
Would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you, Annette and Aaron, and thank you for the question. I will say, like I have shared with you that since I graduate, I always have this communications, reach out by different people throughout the country, whether it's a friend of a friend, a friend of a cousins, and all these sort of people out there who are able to afford legal service, but they have no, some of them, they think that, oh my God, a law firm, lawyers, it will cost them a lot to get the service. But many of them, I will say more than 90% of them that who contact me, they have no ideas where to go to. This, I would say the benefits from working with basketball, I would say, and also with the partner in the past few years since I graduate, I have this big community network from the different law institute throughout the countries. There's 6 of them. And that's how I have a major network, and they would sometimes they have heavy problems that they need to be solved, and they have that potential. Sometimes they work in government official that they earn quite well, or in the private sectors. That's how they can afford. Laos is not a rich country, but again, they still have these potentials to use the service.
May I just interrupt that? So where did people go to before having an affordable law firm in your country? Or they are just ignoring their legal issues at all?
Right. I would say a lot of them just try to go to non-lawyers or like a friend and try to research. There's no way to go, I would say. They cannot go to legal aid because they're not in that 7 categories that the government state that these 7 categories can get the service with the legal aid providers. They just ignore it, and when it have issues later on, they will try to find some way to solve them by themselves, or it's complicated. I will say I will not go into that detail, but again, they just miss the missing middle, like Anna said, and they have potential to pay legal service, however, not that much to go to big law firm. That's why I would say in Laos itself still need a lot of affordable law firm or similar model, like a social enterprise that also have those missing middles to be serve this legal service and also support the poor and vulnerable people in the community.
Thank you, Pav. So, Annette, may I turn it to you? Like, how large the unmet legal need in Sydney is? Like, do you see the same situation as Pav, that there are lots of people that can pay
Absolutely.
a little bit of legal fee, but
yeah. And I mean, there's some stats that have been gathered here, which look, I'm not sure that it really helps particularly because when you look at our population size, someone else's population size. But all I can say is go back to that point I made that government in government reports, so it's a big report here in 2014. More recently, there have been reports from the Law Council of Australia, a major law NGO here, the Justice Connect. They've done research into these numbers. And it seems that if there are something like 8 million people a year need legal assistance in Australia-wide, out of a population which I think is about 26 million or so, something like half of that 8 million people have nowhere to go. And one of the things, I mean, Pa said something that really makes me feel terrible every time I hear this. No offense, but when you talk about they've got no idea where to go. And it's so weird because I think one of the issues is we get more and more fantastic information available. I can go and find out something about any area of law that you want to know about in a very academic style by just Googling. Just in the same way that if I had appendicitis or if I had a sore throat, I could Google. But is it actually the best is it the best advice and representation? Well, sooner or later you will find out how effective your Googling for medical is versus your Googling for or searching whatever search engine for your legal. And even worse than the fact is that this basic information is not necessarily your story, your situation. You then have well-meaning friends who, without any knowledge of law, are telling you what you should do. And over the years, the number of people who I've heard of in the family law area will say they were told that because the house, the title was in the name of one partner, perhaps it's the husband, let's just say that, the wife thinks she has no right to that house. And in Australian law, you do have a right that you can assert or not, depending on the circumstances. But the idea that that house is only available to one person whose name on it is completely incorrect. And you can see that's just one clear example. That there are many examples where it's not even about not having information. It's getting really bad, wrong, misleading, and people think there was nothing I could do. Or the even worse comment is they say, there was nothing I could do because I can't see a lawyer. And one of the things that triggered us around how can you expect people to pay if their incomes are low? Certainly people who are in the lowest financial situations will need legal aid, will need pro bono. And both our government-funded legal aid, our pro bono services are completely used up as much as they can be. So you need to be looking at what can people afford? And I think many people in our range, in fact, may be paying for a house. They might be buying a car. They might have a washing machine, but they don't have any spare income. And our eligibility is based on their income. That's how we assess who. First of all, they should be ineligible for legal aid. Overwhelmingly, they'll be ineligible for pro bono because I can't think of more than about one or two family law firms who do pro bono, because most of the big commercial firms don't have a family law practice at all here in Australia. So these are some of the challenges for people in this space. But to get actual advice, it's such a gift to get advice on your story, your circumstances, and ideally get the representation you need, either to negotiate with the other side or to have representation when you go to court. Nothing compares to that. But to go back to the question, and I'm sorry I have rambled off the question a bit, it's everywhere. I know, well, again, in Australia, people who are in really good-looking jobs are very much in this middle to low income, and people who are essential workers, people across a whole lot of sectors, including teachers, nurses, aged care workers, delivery drivers, and many, many others, and they are not in a position. And we also know here in Australia that the number of older women who are having their relationship end when they're a bit older, closer to retirement, now entering the ranks of the homeless people in Australia. It's one of the biggest growing areas of homelessness here, because it's in many cases, and we're trying to find out the numbers, it stems back to that cycle of decline that started when they couldn't get legal assistance, when that relationship was ending and they couldn't get a proper division of the property of that relationship.
Thank you. See, Pav has raised your hand. Pav, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, thank you. I'll say I agree to what Anna just mentioned about that recently, about the people, the middle income people in the society out there. I would say, and also the past few years, 2-3 years, I've been providing, facilitating some trainings for legal service providers, and also in a different law institute related legal aid and pro bono. And again, talk about legal aid is provide for those 7 category. If they are out of the set in that 7 eligible category, legal services, legal aid should not be accepting or provides the 4 different law service that are mentioned in the legal aid decree, and also as well as the pro bono service, whether by individual lawyers or law firm. The reason is because if you do that, except whoever come to the law institute, the CLE programs, the in-house clinic, or to the legal aid service, and even though they're not in those 7 categories and you still private the service, I would say the legal aid or pro bono service that you're doing is killing the lawyers in your own jurisdiction or in your own country. Right now, as some of you have just noticed, that back in 2012, there are only about 100 something lawyers, and now 10 years later, now 2022, there are more than 300 lawyers. And guess what? Laos is a small country. There's about the populations of 7 million something right now. So I would say there, even though there are legal aid service throughout the countries, and people who are eligible to get those services, but if you really do the calculations, I'm not good at math, that's why I study law, I would say there's still a lot of people that those people out there can be our client, I would say. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you so much. I just want to take this opportunity to encourage our participants, in case you want to join the conversation and also you have any questions, please raise your hand or put your question in the chat box. Feel free to use your own language to type out your question. We have the secretariat and the interpreters here to help us to answer your questions. So please join us. But before we have the next question from the participant, I just want to go back to the concerns that the people, our participant has raised it in the earlier today at the beginning of the section of this section. That one of the things that they point out as a concern, I guess, is the sustainability issue of the law firm. They have pointed out a number of things, including like driving down the market price, sustainability of the law firm, no income, no clients. So perhaps I start with the question about sustainability. Like Annette and Pav, how do you see the affordable law firm concept is going to be? Because I guess eventually, like for example, for Watermelon Legal, you would like to establish a self-reliance model, relying on your own fee to support the payment or the expenses of the firm. Dairy Piper will step back in a few years' time. So how do you think the sustainability of the affordable law firm? Do you think that it's difficult to achieve, or you think that there's a like good like possibility?
It's a lot of hard work. It is really a lot of hard work, but I mean, I absolutely believe that we can make it work. That's why I'm here doing this, because I really believe in this. We have got to do something for so many people who can't get this legal advice. I believe it can be sustainable. We have to constantly adjust work on what we're doing. I like seeing that the fees are increasing. The fees that we are getting are increasing each month. That gives me hope. We have not advertised. We haven't advertised yet. It's word of mouth, just letting people know. We have to get very brave and advertise soon when we want to take it to a next level. But really, Erin, this is the test. Is this a viable model? Can it work? And that's why we are treating it so purely commercially for these first couple of years. No pro bono, while we try and see, can this work? Can we do a model where we can reach this new market, our fees can be acceptable to this market, and it's going to be enough for us to operate ideally without reliance on our good supporters at the university and DLA Piper and beyond. We don't want to go and seek government funds. We'd rather they were able to go to others in the sector. So look, honestly, I'm optimistic, and we're just giving it our best shot. So stay tuned. We'll report back here every year that we're in existence.
Oh, I'm more than happy to hear about the updates.
Yeah, that's all I can say. I'm optimistic. It's hard work, but you do need people who are going to stick with this for the long haul. And I know from Pa, who I'm a massive fan. Now, I didn't put her up as one of my justice heroes because she'd be embarrassed. But honestly, everything she's been doing since 2012 has been extraordinary. And keep watching what she's doing, because I'll be there. I'll see how this evolves in Vientiane.
Yeah, but sustainability is not only about financial sustainability, it's also about like manpower sustainability. So is it challenging for affordable law firm to attract talent to join the firm and provide a legal service as a like affordable rate to the clients? You are focusing on a specific area.
Yeah, look, so it's you've got a brand new entity. You need a particular kind of personality who's prepared to join a startup. We are like Legal House. We are a startup, and you need someone who is really interested in trying to have a go. They need to have a great interest and/or deep experience in the social justice, access to justice space, and really they have to be the kind of people who I really like, who are prepared to take risks. And they often say there's no greater risk in life than never taking a risk. And we've got 3 lawyers at the moment with terrific experience. They've got legal aid experience, they've got private sector experience, and they're just very special, fabulous lawyers. So whether we'll always be able to, it's going to be connected to our reputation. Our reputation is everything. And they say every law firm has 2 key elements, the clients and the staff. So you're not going to get one without the other for very long, unless you're doing something right. Carl, what do you think?
Yep.
Yeah, I would definitely show, like Anna said, it will sustain, and I'm sure it will go very well. Like, I go back to my statement that I've been providing free pro bono service for my friend, my network, or friend of a friend in this rate. It's been so many years already since I graduated and since I got the license. I was like, you know what? I should get paid now. It's time. It's time for me to get paid. That's why I set up this law firm in a affordable way. I cannot say now how well it will go, like boom, like a firework or not. But in my point of view, I think it should go slower. It will slow first and later let it be, let it go, like as a let it go, but in a good way, you know what I mean? And I would say like now by I would say for this similar like concept of affordable law firm, like Annette said, it's more like a mouth to mouth. Like if you do good work with good ethic, with good value, people will speak about your law firm, and then like, you know what, you and they can say to the people in their communities, their neighbor, like, you know what, you're able to afford, you should meet up lawyers. You need to go to that affordable law firm. It's not that expensive as you think it would be. And later on, I will say, and it will have a questions related to neighbor, the word neighbor. And going back to neighbors, I would say even my friend from the faculty of law itself, they have this legal background, but they're not stepping as in the field of lawyers. These people got good salary, they got good work, but still they need affordable service for themselves to overcome the challenges in life in different way, whether it's a family matters or different issue that's come along throughout blocking their way. So why not? Why not take the market that is available?
Thank you, Pab. I just want to ask one more question. That is the other concern raised by the board. What is about the participants today is about driving down the market price. So, do you see that affordable law firm is something that will upset the legal market in the jurisdiction? And not to mention in many countries where our participants come from, the legal market may be dominant by many small law firms, probably just having 1 or 2 lawyers, and they are trying to support the community and also supporting their families as well. So can you just explain a little bit like how affordable law firm is not kind of like damaging the legal market, but kind of a supplement to the legal market in a jurisdiction?
So shall I start with this
yes,
one?
Please, Annette.
If that's okay, I think it's a really interesting question, and it's something that people do ask about, because will it drive the market down? I want to begin by saying that I'm talking about the Australian situation. You've got to consider this in your own local country, your city, your jurisdiction. You know what sort. Some places have lots of individual lawyers, others have none, or have just small firms with a few lawyers, or they're just all big lawyers. You need to understand your market to really consider this. But this is what I think. I actually feel this has the potential to grow a market, absolutely build a bigger than ever market. This is the middle area. This is, for me, it's a bit like, if you know IKEA furniture. Before IKEA furniture came on, or IKEA, you know, there was, you'd just sit on logs of wood or have most basic furniture or really expensive furniture. But most people couldn't afford everyday nice furniture. And they filled this space in that market, if you know that kind of furniture. But you can think about other things, Uber, the car thing, where there's just a different market for different people. And it's really about that. The fact is, if we see people who really earn too much to be coming into our service, we will refer them to other solicitors we know, and therefore some of them will go there. But for the people who are eligible for us, they actually are in nobody else's market. So if you're thinking about us interrupting those markets, those lawyers have never really seen our people anyway. I also remember that years ago when government legal aid came into Australia, people were very, very critical about how this was going to be the end of the private law sector. It hasn't happened. It's grown, it's changed, and it's gone in many different ways, and many more people who are at the poorest end of the income spectrum or without income now can get some legal assistance. When pro bono lawyers came in, like me, people were saying we were just robbing people's jobs and the whole world was going to go nuts. Well, hello, we're growing and more people. But again, we were still mainly looking at people at that lowest of low incomes, with some exceptions when a particular case is going to make a very important point of law. So I'm optimistic that we can really, by providing this product, this service, for most of the population in my country, because most people in Australia would fall into that middle income level, I would think, and it may mean that some law firms need to reconsider how they do things. Can they do things differently and more economically, but still be profitable and have a good life? How do we balance that? And that's a question which each will work out for themselves. But basically, I think it's a real opportunity for lawyers and law firms to engage with more clients. That's what I think, but I'd like to hear your thoughts too, please, Paula.
Yeah. Before I go, may I ask the participants here, if you're able to turn on your camera, that would be great. If you're not able to, you feel free to use the icon. My question is, how many here joining the session now fly or get on a plane, buy plane ticket? If you've been traveling using plane, please put your hand up. Any hand up is fine. If you prefer not turn on the cameras, you can use the icon like a thumbs up. Is there anyone here have experience flying on a plane? Hello. Okay.
Yeah, we do have a few participants has raised their hand saying that they travel by plane.
Okay.
I do as well.
Yeah, and who's here in the sessions have experience going on a train or ride a train? And I would say especially the Lao participants, have you test out the high-speed train? If you do, please put up a thumbs. You can put up icons.
How do you mean a train anywhere or just in Laos?
Anyway, but recently I would say Laos just have a express train. I would say even though that you don't put up your thumbs or turn on your cameras, putting your hand up, I'm sure a lot of you have at least one experience flying by plane or get on a train up to Luang Prabang, Vang Vieng, or other place in Laos that is available. So I will say this show, if you're able to get on a plane, buy those tickets, get on a train, travel up north in Luang Prabang or Udom Sai or other place in Laos, I will say you can be, in the future, you may be my client, You're able to afford you are able to afford the service that's provided by the legal house. And I'm sure if you have, especially the lab participants, you see before the fast train open, many news come out like, oh, no one gonna use the train. It's too expensive. Lao is poor. The plane that's Lao Airline, Lao Skyway, when the trains are here, no one's gonna use the plane. No one's gonna use those services. They're still gonna use their own car or their train. I will say that's not true. If you see the open up of the train recently until now, up to this month in September, oh my God, there's so many people use the service. And I will see more and more people, even not just taking the train, but also fly with airlines. So this is how I see the market. These people can afford my service that is available. And that's why I jump into this market now. I don't want to wait. And I hope the participants who here has the lawyer license already. I'm pleased if you would like to jump in this market. I won't stop you. We can find some way to collaborate. Like I said, I cannot cover all the law. I don't take case to court. I'm not comfortable to do that now. If 4 or 5 years later into the business, I might be looking of expanding my service, but now I'll say this is where I am. I will go slowly. And if you're coming from the law institute or your law teachers, law lecturers, please explain and have your student understand the market, especially this affordable market. The people who are able to get legal service and able to pay by going to a law firm. They don't need to, I think back to you, Aaron.
Thank you so much, Papa. I fully agree that like a healthy market should have like different components supporting different group of clients and making sure that all the clients can find the right choice that based on their capacity and also based on their preference. So like affordable law firm definitely may be able to fill the vacuum that is left by the other law firms in that jurisdictions. We really want to hear from our participants today. So that's why in the final part of this session, we have arranged a small group discussion. So we will put you into groups and want you to discuss with your peers the following question. So where do your neighbors in your community, those are in the sandwich class, get legal service? If you want to set up an affordable law firm in your community, who might be your potential partner and sponsor, and will a well-supported legal new model of law firm has an unfair advantage over the other law firms? Some of the questions that we may have like expressed our views already, we would like to hear from you. So we will put you into groups. You will have 15 minutes to discuss with your group mate, and then we will come back together and have another discussion. But before we put you into groups, I would like to ask all loudspeaker to change your name, add the word Laos at the end of your name. And also for all the Burmese speaker, you can also change your name and add the word Burmese in your name. So when the secretary works on the grouping, they can group all the loudspeaker in one group and all the secretariat in one group. And for the secretariat, like I aware that we have like I think around 48 people in this section. So can you just group around like 8 people in one group? So we will have around like 6 group or 5 to 6 groups, so we can. Sorry, what did I say? Wait, 8 people in one group, so we will have 6 groups for the discussion. So yes, let's do that. Remember to change your name in case you are a loudspeaker or Burmese speaker. And once you guys are ready, the secretariat will put you into groups. Let me give everyone a minute to do that. And for those who did not indicate whether you
สบายดีเปิดกล้องเปิดไมค์มารวมกันเลยได้เด้อสบายดีวัฒนาบัวฤทธิ์แล้วก็สุขสวัสดิ์จังไดเนาะแลกเปลี่ยนกันเด้อเกี่ยวกับบริษัทที่ปรึกษากฎหมาย Affordable Law Firm นี่คิดว่าเพื่อนบ้านเฮาเนาะหรือว่าคนอยู่ในชุมชนของเฮานะถ้าเขาเจ้าต้องการช่วยเหลือทางด้านกฎหมายหรือว่าการบริการต้องการทนายความเขาเจ้าสิไปหาไผสบายดีท่านบุญสว่างคิดว่าใกล้ๆบ้านเฮานะ 2-3 หลังคาเรือนอ้อมแอมบ้านเฮานะถ้าสมมุติว่าปุ๊บก็จะมีปัญหาทางด้านกฎหมายท่านคิดว่าก็จะสิไปหาไผแลกเปลี่ยนกันเนาะตัวนี้เปิดไมค์รวมกันเลยเด้อ
ป่าตอนนี้ป่ามันอยู่เมนรูมป่าจะเข้าเบรกเอารูมมาหรือจะถ่ายอยู่เมนรูม
ยังว่าไปเบรกเอาท์รูมมี3ห้องนะเอาไว้เข้าได้
อันน้องบอกแอรอนแล้วว่าน้องแบ่งเป็นแต่2ห้องเพราะว่าคนลาวบ่อยากแบ่งออกเป็นหลายห้องเพราะเฮาบ่มีอินเตอร์พรีเตอร์พอป่าจะไปห้องลาวหรือห้องภาษาอังกฤษ
ไปห้องลาวห้องภาษาอังกฤษคนหลายบ่ลาว
มีประมาณ 4-6 คนภาษาอังกฤษได้
เชอรี่เอาไว้เข้ากลุ่มหนึ่งเนี่ยเพราะว่ากลุ่มที่2มันมี2คนละแอรอนกับอันนั้นเน็ตอยู่ห้องนั้นเชอรี่
โดยถ้าป่าผู้ที่กำลังเลือกไปห้องที่เป็นภาษาเราเนาะ
Hi everyone. It's great to
Okay.
see
Welcome back.
you all again. I have to admit that we're having a good conversation in our small group that we overlook the time. But I guess in the next 10 minutes, perhaps we can hear from the two groups and see how they think about the three topics that we have discussed. Pav, I know that you are in the Laos group, so do you think do you feel comfortable in nominating a person to represent the Laos group to talk about what you guys have discussed?
Thank you, Aaron. I would say probably I will take that part on. I would say the group is quite shy and not I would say quite shy, and that's one participant has shared and asked the questions like he's a law lawyer and would like to do pro bono. At the moment, he's not yet in a positions where setting up a law firm, whether it's affordable or any kind yet. However, he would like to do pro bono, so I share a little bit that he can actually register with the legal house firm or to join the pro bono hub, and I can later on connect back to him and see what is possible. I will say there's more to be done, and maybe a few more years he might come back to think and setting up. I hopefully he will take that pitch like and it always say the pitch in that market that is available there. And I would say he has a very good potential of setting up a affordable law firm. The reason I say that before I go back to you is that Viang Sai, this is good, right? It's not discrimination whatsoever. He's Hmong ethnic, and I would say a lot of Hmong ethnic. The people, some of them has to can use the legal aid services, but many of them, oh my God, they have a lot of money. Yes, and also there are a lot of middle class in those Hmong community. So if he able to set up that law firm, that the affordable law firm, I would say it will go very well, because for me, I cannot take clients with Hmong clients because I cannot speak Hmong. You know what I mean? So he understands the market more than I do. So I would say I encourage him to do so, and looking forward for that. Throwback to you. I think that's the only discussion that has been shared in the group.
Thank you so much. So before I come back to you, like as a speaker about the topics that we have raised, shall we just go to group 2? So we have a group of Myanmar and international participants in group 2, and I remember that let me find the name. Micah, and also a gentleman from Braveheart have shared some like good ideas about the topic. So may I invite them to talk about what you have discussed in group 2?
Hi. Hi,
Hello.
guys.
Hello.
I shared the aspect of engaging organizations or non-governmental or private organizations who are engaged with non-legal services, which could be the alternative services we could offer in the law office if in case the issue does not require for a legal assistance. So this is one alternative way to address the needs of our clients, because here in the Philippines, we can observe that most of the clients are not, if they are confronted with an issue, they initially think that it needs a legal assistance. But well, in fact, if we examine their needs based on their circumstances, they only need a non-legal assistance, which can be availed with relevant organizations. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think we have another person from group 2. I hope I pronounce it correct. It's My Soul from Braveheart. That you have shared some good ideas in the group as well. Do we still have you here in the group?
ကျွန်တော်ပြောခဲ့တာကြတော့လေကျွန်တော်ရှိမှကြတော့ဒီရာဇဝတ်မှုတို့တရားမမှုတို့လိုမျိုးကြီးမားတဲ့ကိစ္စတွေကြားမှာပဲဒီ legal service တွေယူကြရဲဆိုတဲ့အကြောင်းပြောခဲ့တာပါ
Sorry, just to
သူတို့ခြားနိုင်ငံတွေနဲ့ကျွန်တော်နဲ့ culture ချင်းမတူတာဥပမာပြင်ဆင်ကိစ္စလို့ကိစ္စမျိုးပေါ့နော်နောက်ပြီးတော့ဒီလင်များကွာချင်းတဲ့ကိစ္စမျိုးတွေမှာတော့တိတ်ပြီးတော့ဒီရှင်းနေတဲ့အခုတိတ်မျိုးဆိုတဲ့အကြောင်းပြောရတဲ့ချက်ပေါ့နောက်တစ်ချက်ကကြတော့ဒီကျွန်တော်ရှိမှ district center တွေခုနောက်ပိုင်းမှာရှိလာတယ်အဲ့အတွက်ဒီ pro bono service တွေကိုသူတို့ယူကြတယ်ပေါ့နော်နောက်တစ်ချက်ကကြတော့သူကဒီဟောပေါ့ဒီ laser data မျိုးတွေနောက်ဒီကြီးတဲ့ data မျိုးတွေမှာဘယ်လိုလုပ်လဲဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ပြောခဲ့တာတော့ဟောပေါ့ကြီးရွာတကြီးတွေပေါ့နော်ကျွန်တော်ရက်ွက်တွေမျိုးရွာမှာမျိုးတွေမှာကြီးရက်ွက်တွေပေါ့ရက်ွက်အသေးဘူးလို့မျိုးဒီဟာတွေမှာလည်းကိစ္စလေးတွေကိုကြည့်ရအောင်ဖြည့်ရှင်းနိုင်တဲ့အတော်မျိုးပေးထားပြီးတော့သူတို့ကဒီကြီးတဲ့မှုငယ်အောင်ဖြည့်ရှင်းပေးသွားတာမျိုးရှိလို့ဆိုတော့ဒီလိုခဲ့တာပါဆရာအဲ့ဒါတွေကိုပြောပြပါအောင်
Thank you so much. Thank you for telling us the situation in Myanmar. So the assistance is very limited. Or I mean, the people just go to lawyers for a certain type of case. Thank you very much for your sharing. So just want to see if any participants have any question, like general comments or anything that you want to discuss with our 2 panelists today. You can type it in the chat box or just raise your hand and I can invite you to speak. Okay, it seems that everyone is quite happy with the session today. Annette and Paps, perhaps I think before we wrap up, just want to see if you have any final thoughts on today's discussion. Any tips or like final words to encourage people to think more about having an affordable law firm in their jurisdictions. Annette, do you want to go first?
Sure. I think, look, there are a few models of affordable law firms. You've heard about Pa's amazing inventiveness and what she's doing there in Vientiane and elsewhere in Laos. Myself, I'm describing what we do in Sydney. I mentioned the one in Washington, D.C. June Lim is a terrific lawyer in Singapore who has Eden Law, which has another model of how to deliver services. I think that involves assessing the situation for each client. It's a very interesting model. There's at least one other in Australia with a university. I think one of the advantages in the model we've put forward, I really feel, is by focusing in one area of law. For us in our situation, I think it's been a helpful way of getting started. We can focus on the research, the advocacy around the issues for people going through the family law process, and also where to go next with that, and the whole link with this university training students. So I guess if you're interested in getting involved in this area, very happy to continue the conversation offline. I also want you to know, perhaps in places closer to home for you, there may be something already happening, and I encourage you to find out more. I think actually, as I'm speaking, I think we're planning a network here, Pa. I think we're about to set up something else, so it's probably a good thing to share the experience, the learnings, anything that's going to increase access to justice for such an underserved portion of our community here has to be a step in the right direction. That's all. And thank you to everyone who's participated today, and a thank you to my fellow panelists. But over to you, Pa.
Thank you. Paths, any final thoughts?
Yeah, thank you. And I will say my final thought would be I would like to pass on my message to all the lawyers out there, whether country you're in or law student, that now yet have thought about what they would like to do, but you can see us as examples or maybe a lesson learned. Right now, I can see some of you might not thought of it, but if you would like to set up similar business model like we, please feel free to connect us up. And I'm happy to discuss and share my experience how to set up this similar legal enterprise or affordable law firms. And like I just shared before that, I would like to see more lawyers who has that potential to set up a similar business model like I do and pitch that middle class or the sandwich class, the missing middle market that is out there. I will say it's not in a bad way, but I feel sorry for them that they have the money, they have resource to get the service, but I feel sorry that they don't have where to go, or just like they would like to buy food, but they don't know the market. You know what I mean? So I would like to see more affordable law firms throughout the country, not just in Vientiane capitals, but throughout the country. There's still a lot of market there, especially in big city. If you think, there might not be a market in small city throughout, or in small province throughout the country, but think about big city like Champasak, Savannakhet, Khamwon, or Luang Prabang. I'll see our Bo Keo up in the note. See who able to afford those service from you, and just go for it. Don't wait. Take that step, and I'm sure it will last. Back to you.
Thank you so much. Well, I guess like what we want to see in the legal profession is legal service is not only like available for the people, that it also needs to be accessible to our clients, to like clients from different backgrounds, and also sustainability is also very important. So affordable law firm may be one of the solutions that we may have in different jurisdictions in completing completing the picture on completing the legal market and making sure that everyone can find their lawyers and enjoy the high quality legal service that the profession has been providing to the people in that jurisdiction. Thank you so much, Anat and Pavina, for joining us this afternoon. And also thank you so much for everyone for attending and joining the conversation. Before we wrap up, just to let you know that the magic word of this session is social enterprise. To claim an e-certificate, please ensure that you have the magic words from this session and also from other sessions to complete the post-event survey and send an email to the organizer after the conference so you can get your e-certificate. Thank you very much once again for joining us this afternoon. We hope that not only wishing you all well, but also keep the conversation going. So please feel free to reach out to us if you have any question. Otherwise, I wish you have a very good afternoon. Bye-bye. Bye, Annette. You can go back to the to the final.
Back to the football. Thank
Yeah.
you. Lovely to see you both. Fantastic. Wow, Pa, you're amazing.
You're amazing, Pav.
I can't believe it. Good on you. Such a professional. See you to everyone. Go and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Thank you everyone for joining. It's been,
Thanks.
even there's not much discussions going on, but I'm sure you're very tight from the previous sessions. There's a lot of things to be listening in, joining. I'm glad we still have a lot of people joining these sessions, and I would like to see next year. I would like to see more affordable law firm setting, not just
We
in
need
Laos.
to talk. Yeah, we need
Yeah.
to sort something out here, because I really feel we need to bring people together. I really do. There's so much. I've got so many questions for you, which I'll do after the conference, after the exchange. I just have a list. I've been writing questions for you, but that's questions I want answered.
Yes,
Well, come back next
please
year and
do.
share that.
Please do.
See you, folks. Bye.
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 Bye.